Morning, everyone. What's up? What's up? Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning. Today is February the 11th. Today is a Wednesday. Overall markets yesterday ended up having a decent amount of consolidation. So yesterday was a very tricky day in the markets. We ended up kind of rejecting off our previous day highs, came back down and really just kind of consolidated on the major indices. A lot of the tech names didn't really move too much. Nvidia, AMD rejected off its previous day highs. Tesla was the only one that we're looking for above our previous day highs, but ultimately fairly choppy on the lower time frames. We'll kind of talk about what the game plan is coming into today. Before we do that, what's up, everyone? Good morning. What's up, Victor? Good morning, TW. Good morning, Robert, Stefan, I am. Kai. Good morning, Cody, KO, Wakey, Big, Martin, 50. Good morning, Frank. What's up, Shez, Robert, Cinna, Chris? Let's actually wait 1 second. We should be back. Seems like my thing cut out, but we should be good. As always, if you guys, if there's any lag in the live stream, you guys can always reset YouTube, and it should be all set. Okay, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Let's go on to the economic calendar. So for today, we have some red folder news here at 8:30. We have unemployment. We have average hourly earnings, and we also have the non-farm enrollment change. This is going to be at 8:30, so we'll go over a few charts. Wait for 8:30, and then we'll develop our game plan from there. As for some other things that we do have, unemployment claims, that's going to be tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, on Friday, we do have core CPI month over month along with year over year. So this is what we have for the economic calendar coming into today. We do also have earnings still. The main earnings that we had yesterday was Hood. A little bit of a drop here on some of the financial names, Charles Schwab, Hood. We had IBKR dropping as well. So we'll kind of talk about this and what this will affect the markets moving forward. As for the main charts, let's hop straight into the indices. I'll go over some charts, I'll answer some questions along the way, and then we'll develop our game plan coming into today. So really for the major indices. So right here for the ES, let's go on to the higher time frames. What I personally wanted to see yesterday was this trade up and towards really our all-time highs. Key levels that we had marked out was our previous high that we created here on Monday. I wanted to see the break above retest for continuation towards the upside. Ultimately, we weren't able to get above our Monday's highs, and we actually ended up rejecting off of that area and just coming back down in towards our Friday's highs of last week. So as you can see, the levels that we have coming into today, what we're going to mark out here is our Friday's highs of last week. And we also have marked out here our Monday's highs. So you can see yesterday price tried getting above our Monday's highs, was unable to, end up rejecting off this area and coming all the way back down in towards our key level of support for the week. So coming into today here, I'm fairly neutral in the markets. If we do want to see some upside, I'd like to see buyers step in off our 69.60 for this potential continuation back up in towards our previous day highs. Another possible scenario that we have coming to market open here now is some sort of opening drive play for a push up in towards our previous day highs. Or now, of course, we're going to be looking for longs above our previous day highs for this push up in towards our all-time highs. So this is what we have for the ES coming into market open. If you zoom out here, as I mentioned, I'm a little bit more neutral now coming into market open, just because we have our Mondays open. This is our high from last Friday, and we're just fairly more neutral. I'm leaning towards the upside, but a little bit more neutral coming to market open, and we're going to keep an eye on the reaction that we have off our key levels. As for downside, the key level here is going to be, of course, our previous day lows. If we break underneath our previous day lows, we can be looking for a trade down in towards our 69.20. So today, I'm open to playing both sides. If we do break underneath, I wouldn't be opposed to looking for the short underneath our previous day lows. As for the SPY chart, as you can see right here, the key levels that we have marked out coming to market open is going to be that Friday's highs along with our previous day highs. So for the SPY coming to market open, fairly similar game plan. If we can maintain above that previous day lows, we can be looking for this continued push back towards the highs. Another possible scenario here now is going to be above our previous day highs for this continuation up in towards our 698, which is our all-time highs. So these are the two major long scenarios for the SPY coming into market open. If we're looking for shorts, shorts are in play underneath our previous day lows. So we could be looking for the potential rejection, getting underneath our previous day lows. It's also going to be our pre-market lows here as well. And we could be looking to target our Monday's lows of this week, which is going to be that 689. So shorts underneath our previous day lows. Anything else, we're going to be looking for the potential bounce off our previous day lows or now for price to move above our previous day highs for this longs towards the upside. So there's really three major scenarios that we're looking for coming into market open. Now let's go on to the NQ chart. And let's go on to the hourly time frame. So as you can see here for the NQ. So the NQ here that we have, as you can see, we end up having this really solid push towards the downside. ES already made its way back up and towards our all-time highs. The Dow also moved back up and towards our all-time highs here as well. Basically, we're in equilibrium. So as you can see for the NQ, yesterday, and at least for this week, we end up having a nice bounce on Monday, but ultimately we're kind of in the middle of the range. So that's why we don't really have too much of a clear direction here on the lower time frames, just because the higher time frames is in essentially equilibrium. So the key levels that I have marked out personally is our Friday's highs of last week. And we also have now, we can mark out that previous day highs along with our Monday's highs. So coming into market open, the key levels that we have drawn out, Friday's highs of last week, and of course our previous day highs. If you want to see some upside coming to market open, we need to see the bounce play off our previous day lows for this continued push back up and towards our previous day highs. Another possible scenario here as well is going to be the break above our previous day highs, hold above our previous day highs for continuation. As I mentioned, for downside is in play underneath our previous day lows. So if we can get underneath our previous day lows coming into market open and reject off that level, we can be looking for a potential trade down in towards our Monday's lows, which is all the way down in towards that 24,960. So this is what we have for the NQ today. Basically the exact same game plan as the ES. The levels are just a little bit different. As for the QQQ coming into today, exact same levels apply here. What we have marked out is our Friday's highs of last week. And we also now can mark out that previous day highs. You can just extend this over. So for the Qs, the key level, previous day highs, 617 along with our 611. If you want to see some bounce, we can be looking for the bounce play off our previous day lows or now longs above our previous day highs for continuation. Shorts are in play underneath our previous day lows, of course. So we could be looking for weakness underneath that 612. If we can break underneath, that's what we have here on the QQQ. And then what else do we have? We have room all the way down in towards that 605. So this is what we have on the QQQ coming into today. Now let's go on to some of the other major indices that we do have. We'll go on to the SMH here in a second, along with the IWM. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below as well. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Yeah, I'll take a look at some of the charts here in a second. Do I use bracket orders? I personally use manual orders. Let's say I have a trailing position, you could put in a bracket order. I know a bunch of people that use OCO orders. You can use, there's plenty of different types of orders if you use TOS, IBKR. I personally do it manually if I'm managing the position or if I'm at the screens. If I'm not, then I can put in like a trailing stop or some sort of stop loss. If you can touch a bit today, how do you decide whether to use previous day highs, pre-market highs? So we'll basically determine that in the pre-market. Of course, we'll always have our previous day highs levels marked out. And then based off of our previous day highs and previous day lows, we can also use our opening ranges. If, let's say, for example, something like uh, SPY. Let's say within the first 5 minutes of market open, we have a big push towards the upside, or the QQQ. Within the first 5 minutes, if you have a big push, then potentially we can be looking for the 5-minute opening range to target your previous day highs. Of course, we would be inside the range, so we have to be a little bit more cautious, but we're bouncing off a key level here, previous day lows, Friday's highs. If the first 5 minutes shows a lot of strength, we can be looking for a potential move up and towards our previous day highs. Let's go on to the SMH. Let's go on to the hourly chart. So as you can see here for the SMH, this is what we have on the daily chart. So the daily chart, as you can see, we have multiple touches. We have a touch here, we have another touch here. And as you can see, buyers are stepping in and we're looking for this continued push towards the highs. So what we like to see for the SMH is a little bit of consolidation and then eventually, right, this push up in towards our all-time highs 420. As you can see here, for the levels that we have marked out, we have our previous day highs 410 along with our 400 level here, which is going to be key. We can actually just refine this level if we like as well, just for our previous high that we created, which is our Friday's highs along with our previous day lows. So for the SMH coming into today, what we're going to keep an eye out on is our previous day lows along with our previous day highs 411. Longs are in play above our 403 for continuation higher. Another possible scenario, longs above our previous day highs for this push up and towards our 413. So this is what we have here for the SMH. If we reject or now we get underneath our 403, then we could be leaning a little bit more towards the downside here on the SMH. Overall, higher time frame still very much intact, so that's why the semiconductors have been moving up fairly nicely. As for the IWM, this one's holding up. What we wanted to see was the hold above our 267. This is the key level that we have marked out. So for the IWM moving forward, if we want to see any sort of push back towards the highs, we need to see the break above our 267, hold above our 267 for this push back up and towards our previous day highs. Okay, so this is what we have for the major indices coming into market open. Basically both SPY and the Qs, it's going to be off our Friday's highs. And we're going to keep an eye out on the reaction off our Friday's highs coming into today. Now I'm going to head on to some tech names. As I mentioned, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. Okay, let's first talk about Tesla. So Tesla, as you can see here on the higher time frames, we're bouncing nicely off these lows. We talked about the reclaim, which is the key level back above our 416. You can see a nice kind of bounce here on Tesla coming into this week so far. So the key levels that we had marked out yesterday was our 416. As long as you can maintain above our 416, we could be looking for continuation higher. If you go back onto lower time frames, you can see nice kind of bounce off that 416. We end up getting above our previous day highs, nice bounce off our previous day highs. Definitely a little bit more choppy on the lower time frames with the overall markets, but technical setup, right? Nice kind of hold above that previous day highs. So coming into market open here today, the levels that I have marked out on Tesla is our previous day highs, our new previous day highs, 427. And we also have our 421 along with our 417. So coming into market open, if we're looking for longs, we can be looking for the bounce play off our 421 for this pushback towards the highs, or now above our previous day highs for continuation once again. So these are really the two long scenarios that we have for Tesla. The only short scenario that I like is the break underneath our 421 for this potential continue push down in towards that 417. So if Tesla gets underneath that 421, we could be looking for this push down in towards that 417 here in the overall markets. Now let's go on to Nvidia. Nvidia, let's keep an eye out for. on the higher time frames, this is one of my favorite looking charts moving forward. We kind of talked about this yesterday, but if you're looking at this on the 4-hour perspective, bounce off our key level of key level of support. Now we have this push up and towards our key level of resistance. If we can break above our 194, we could be looking for this continuation towards the upside. So for Nvidia, let's go back onto the lower time frames here. On the hourly chart, what I personally would like to see is one of two scenarios. Basically the exact same thing as yesterday. We like to see number one, nice push higher, consolidation, right? Form this flag pattern for this push up in towards our 194 for this continuation and above, or we'd like to see that pull back down in towards that 186, and we could be looking for buyers to step in off that major key level. So for Nvidia coming into today, what we're going to keep an eye out on is the reaction that we have off our 193 along with this 186.50. Other levels that we could have marked out here is going to be that previous day lows along with our previous day highs, which I'd say is just kind of close to that 193 regardless. So for Nvidia, previous day lows is going to be key here. And we can also mark out our previous kind of close that we have, which is just going to be this level right here, where our previous day close from Monday, where you can see we have multiple touches. So for Nvidia, if we can break above our 190.50, we could be looking for this potential push up in towards our previous day highs. Another possible scenario, of course, is going to be above our 193 for continuation, or higher time frames, right? The bounce play here off that 186. Either way, on Nvidia, I do like this one on the higher time frames, as I mentioned. So we're just going to be a little bit more patient. We're going to set alerts because once we do break above this 194, the next level that we do have here is going to be back up and towards our 200, right? And back up and towards our all-time highs. So once we do break above this 194, right, we're going to see this nice push up and towards that 200 key psych along with that 204 and higher. So that's what we have on Nvidia coming into market open. Now let's go on to AMD. AMD, I talked about this gap fill being very key. Yesterday it swept above our gap fill and we had a little bit of reaction. So for AMD coming to market open here today, if we do want to see any sort of longs, we needed above our previous day highs. You can see yesterday, a little bit of reaction right off the bat. And we end up rejecting once again off that 218. So for AMD coming to market open here today, we're going to number one need to see the reclaim back above key levels. So the reclaim back above 215 at a minimum, or now above our previous day highs for this continued push towards the upside. So this is what we have for an AMD coming to market open. You can just draw out this general area. 215 reclaim is needed. I personally like longs above 215, but of course the best for confirmation is going to come above our previous day highs, 218. So keep this in mind for AMD coming to market open. If we do just reject off this 215, we're just going to come straight back down in towards that pre-market lows, which is that 212. So that's what I have for AMD coming into market open. Let's go on to Apple. Do you pay attention to all the charts that you have? Are there a few main ones? I'm primarily paying attention to 2 to 3 main tickers that I lay out. And then of course I have another layout like something like this where I'll pay attention to the 5 and 15 minute chart, and then also have this one here as well, which I'll just look at the higher time frames on some of these ones. So I have 2 to 3 main watches that I'm looking for. And then of course I have some other screens and some other layouts that just have 8 charts. And if anything else goes on, or if I have some, let's say, secondary watches, I'll keep an eye out on that screen just in case anything else moves. Then I'll kind of switch my main watches for the day. But 2 to 3 main watches for the day, and I'll keep an eye out on the overall markets. Okay, now let's go on to the next charts that we have, which is Apple. So as you can see, Apple, a little bit of a pullback here down in towards that 272. The key levels coming into today, yeah, just 272, a little bit more of a range here since last week. You can see a couple of reactions off the lows, couple of reactions here off the highs. So for Apple here now, we like to see the break above our 275 for continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario here is going to be the bounce play off that 272 for this continued push back towards the highs here as well. So this is what we have for Apple moving forward. As for some other tickers that we do have coming to today, Google, not really doing too much. broke underneath our key levels, which is at 320. Nice little continuation right off the bat. So far, if we do maintain underneath that 320, we can see this continue push towards the downside. Break above, we can see this push back up and towards that 326. As for Microsoft, key levels that we have marked out. So this was one of our main watches coming into yesterday. We kind of talked about Microsoft being a solid bounce play here, right? Microsoft, we filled that full daily gap here on the daily chart. If we can bounce here off that 390, we can see this nice continuation towards the upside. Now for Microsoft, we end up pushing right back up and towards the exact level, which happens to be this low that we created. So as you can see right here, this is the exact level that we broke down from. And we end up rejecting off this exact area yesterday here. But that was one of our main targets, our 422. Now coming to market open here for Microsoft, what I'd like to see is a reaction that we have off our low that we created, the high that we created here on Monday. If we can break above, we can see this nice mean reversion back up in towards this 422. If we can reject, we're going to see this push down in towards that 409. So line in the sand today, of course, is going to be that 414. As for Meta, key levels that we have marked out coming to market open is just going to be that 668. Not really too much to talk about, just based off of the daily time frame, or sorry, the hourly chart. We're just kind of in between our earnings high along with our earnings low. And we're right at this general area, which is this 676. Longs are in play above our 676. If we're showing a little bit more weakness, we can be looking for shorts underneath our 676. So that's what I have here. As for Amazon, this one recently had earnings drop towards the downside, just a lot more consolidation. Key levels that you're going to have marked out, 212 along with your 205. If you want to see the break above, we can see this continuation towards the upside. Break underneath our 205, we can see this push right down in towards that 200 key psych. So this is what we have for Amazon coming to market open. And then for Netflix, the key levels that we have marked out is, of course, our 8250. Not really too much to talk about on this one either. Just kind of bounce off the lows, broke back above our 8250, and now we're just kind of right back at that level. So really coming into market open. Key levels that we have marked out coming into today, and what are my main watches, right? We'll talk about that here in a second. We do have about 2 more minutes until the red folder news events. Key levels here on the Qs, as I mentioned, is just going to be our Friday's highs of last week. As for the SPY, similar thing. What we're going to keep an eye on is our Friday's highs. If we maintain above our Friday's highs, we could be looking for a mean reversion, break underneath, potential continuation towards the downside. My main watch is coming to market open. I'm still going to keep an eye on Tesla, right? Market structure is still intact. Key level here, 421 bounce. And of course, if you can break above our 427, we can see this push towards the upside. Nvidia, of course, is still going to be on watch here as well. A level that I have marked out today is going to be that 190.50 for a potential push up in towards that 193.50. And then AMD, still somewhat interested in this setup here as well. It's going to be that reclaim back above that 215 for that push up in towards that 218. So basically the same watches from yesterday and really the start of the week that we have here that we're going to keep an eye out for. As for everything else, we're just going to keep an eye out on the key levels that we have marked out, but really Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, same watches as usual for a continuation higher. Now I'm going to head on to a few other tickers here now as well. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. We do have some red folder news coming up in a second here. So I'm just going to answer some questions. We'll go on to a few other tickers, and then I'm going to get ready for market open. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below as well. Decent amount of questions here. What I see is most tech follow Q, so why not just trade the Q's options if they move well? Yeah, if you want to trade the Q's options, that definitely is a play. Just trading the major tech in itself. I personally like to trade tech names. I'll trade the SPY and Qs as well. It's just based off the trend. So there's usually names that are leading the markets higher. we're within the QQQ. So let's say we have semiconductors. Semiconductors have been very hot in the past, really half a year. So something like MU, TSM, Intel, right, Nvidia, AMD, those have been leading the market higher. So those have had really nice trends in the markets compared to the Qs, which actually has been kind of choppy the past 2 to 3 months. So those names have been a lot easier to trade than the Qs themselves. How do you decide which charts to focus on? Because sometimes you trade charts which are not your main focus. I look at all the charts. So coming into market open, right, you can see I look at every single chart. Wow, these numbers came in fairly well. So I look at every single chart, and then based off that, I'll try and break it down into 2 to 3 top watches. But I still have other watches that I'm keeping an eye out for. So that's why I have the higher time frame chart here as well. So we just had the numbers that came out here in the markets. Pretty solid reaction, as you can see here, right off our previous day low so far. So non-farm enrollment change, as you can see here, forecasted 66K, actual 130 for the average hourly earnings, 0.3, actual 0.4, and then unemployment rate here, 4.3%, lower than expected compared to 4.4. So as you can see here, super nice bounce so far, just right back in between our previous day close, sorry. So right here, as you can see, nice sort of reaction right off our Friday's high so far on the QQQ. So coming to market open, the exact same game plan still applies. So far, we are getting that nice bounce right off our Friday's highs. So what we'll be looking for is similar thing as before, right? Bounce off our Friday's highs for continuation, or now it's going to be above our 617 for this continuation towards the upside. SPY chart, similar thesis here. SPY, what we're going to be looking for, right? So far, buyers are stepping in here off our Friday's highs of last week. Now we'll be looking for the break above our previous day highs for continuation, or as before, similar thing as before, the bounce play here off that 692. As you can see, Tesla, right, we'll keep an eye on Tesla previous day highs. Nvidia, we'll keep an eye out on the break above our 190.50. As for AMD, similar thesis here, key level that we're going to have is our 215. So quite a bit of things now moving here in the pre-market, of course, with the red folder news that we just had. So Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, all on watch. Some other names to keep an eye out on watch here as well. Microsoft potentially above our 414. It already hit one of our main objectives, so I'll be a little bit more cautious, but still keep an eye out on Microsoft. As for everything else, they're actually inside of a range. So Tesla, Nvidia, AMD are the main ones that are moving. Of course, we have Qs and SPY here as well. Now let's go on to a few other tickers. Let's go on to Palantir. So Palantir ended up bouncing nicely off our key levels. A little bit of rejections here off that 146 yesterday. And now we're straight back down in towards that 136. So for Palantir coming to market open, key level 136 along with our 140 or 146. We like to see the bounce play. Really, that's your lowest risk. This is the only scenario here for Palantir for a potential mean reversion back up and towards our 142 and above. So that's what we have for Palantir. Not really too much to talk about based off the daily chart. This one, we like to see reclaim back above our key low. So technically we are still bearish. We like to see the reclaim back above this 148. Hood, a little bit of a pullback, right? This one had earnings, of course, yesterday. Nice drop towards the downside. Key level here for Hood is going to be that 77 earnings low. So for Hood, the key levels that we have marked out is going to be that earnings low 77. Next levels towards the downside is all the way back down in towards our 72 key psychological level. So for Hood, if we break underneath our 77, we can keep an eye on this one for a push down in towards our 72 here on the higher time frames. Ultimately, if we do see some buyers bounce, we can see this push back up and towards our pre-market highs. As for a few other tickers that we have, MU, this one's just been consolidating nicely off these lows. What I would like to see now on MU, break back above our 396 for continuation for this push towards the highs. If we go on to TSM, another main watch that we'll keep an eye on. Yesterday, we mentioned our previous day highs was key. You can see drop right off the bat. Buyers stepped in here off our previous day highs Other levels that we have marked out on TSM, of course, is going to be that 367. 367 for continuation higher. If we can pull back down in towards our previous day highs, then we're going to be looking for the reclaim back above our high that we created, which is this 367 regardless. So this is what we have for Palantir for continuation towards the upside. So keep it, sorry, that was for TSM. So keep an eye out on TSM, MU above our 395. Intel, a little bit of a drop here. So Intel is consolidating more than anything. The key level for me on Intel was number one, our 50 key psych, along with our 5150. Now it just seems like this one is just back inside of consolidation. Higher time frame, still very much intact. But it's just going to take a little bit longer to set up here. So you can see higher lows are being built. We needed to see the break above our 50 key psych for any sort of continuation higher. As for a few other tickers that we have, SNDK, this one bouncing off the lows here as well. So keep an eye out on SNDK, right off a key level of support. Also our earnings low here as well. I'd like to see this potential mean reversion on SNDK coming into today. So this is what we have here, right? Look for the potential bounce play off our 544 for this push back up and towards our 548. Okay. That was a decent amount of charts. So let me go on to the game plan coming to market open, and then I'm going to call it a day and get ready for market open here. So for the Qs, as I mentioned, so far we're having this nice bounce with our red folder news events that we had in the morning. We're going to now be looking for longs above our previous day highs for continuation, or the bounce off our 611 for a continuation higher. At least right off the bat with this big candle, we're going to be a little bit more cautious, right? Just because there's going to be a lot of volatility right off the bat. I don't think we're just going to have that straight break above. It might just reject, it might consolidate a little bit and then reclaim later into the session. But the previous day highs is going to be the key levels that we're going to be looking for. Similar thing here with SPY. We are pushing back up into the exact area we rejected. What I would like to see is a little bit of consolidation, and then once we get that reclaim, we could be looking for continuation higher. SMH, you can see breaking above our key highs. So SMH is the one that's leading the way. Keep an eye on some semiconductors coming into today if we can maintain above our previous day's highs. So as you can see, a lot of the semis shaping up nicely here. SPY, next level that we do have is really our all-time highs. Main watches, Tesla, previous day highs, keep an eye out for that. Nvidia, keep an eye out on your 190.50. AMD, key level that we have is your 215. Some of the main watches coming to market open, keep an eye out on TSM. This one, all-time highs, level that I have marked out is our 367. MU that we have here is our 395. So those are the main ones. And then SNDK. So MU and SNDK have been lagging behind. They haven't been as bullish compared to the overall market. But we'll keep an eye out on TSM. Other names that we have here, Oracle. This one kind of bouncing nicely here off the low. So for Oracle, we could be looking for a mean reversion. This one, of course, is in a complete downtrend, so it's a little bit trickier to trade, but nice kind of bounce off these lows so far. Oracle, the next key level that I have marked out is this exact level here, 164. If we can break above, we can see this continuation back up and towards our 176. Rejection, we can see this push down and towards that 158. So for Oracle, keep an eye out on your 165. AVGO, keep an eye out on this one here as well. I like this one. If you look at this daily chart, nice kind of bounce right off our 310. Now we're reclaiming back above key levels. So for AVGO, we'd like to see now the break above key levels that you're going to have marked out is going to be your previous day highs, right? 348. What we'd like to see here is the break above for this continuation up in towards our 352. So main watches, just quickly go over Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, and then I'm going to keep an eye out on TSM. I do like TSM quite a bit. MU, we'll keep an eye out on this one here as well. It's going to be the break. We can keep an eye out on your previous day high retest coming to market open. So far, you can see some buyers stepping in for this continuation up and towards our 396. And then SNDK, right, the key levels that we have marked out is going to be our 544. So that's what we have here in the overall market. So that is going to be it for me today. I see quite a few questions here. Can we what I noticed, can we compare Qs and SPY? Exactly. You can, if you're going to compare the tech names, you're going to compare to the indice. If you're trading the SPY and Qs, you can compare to one another. Let's see, tick charts. Someone's mentioning that, Sean, why do you use time charts instead of tick charts? Tick charts are much cleaner than time charts. Can you show more info for BNR traders? Can you give the reasoning? I just always used candlesticks instead of tick charts. It's just personal preference. Let's see what else. Depends on the day. Let's see, higher time frames. All right. Yeah, that's most likely going to be it for me today. Let's see, Monday's highs, lows, and frequently. Do you mark out those particular day highs? No, it's just based off they're always just old previous day highs and previous day lows. So that's what we have here in the overall markets. Yeah, they're just always old highs and lows in the markets. So that's what we just have marked out. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now. So if you guys did enjoy that, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is going to be in the description below. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.